The education sector is in focus on this episode of the program as the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has yet again down tools over issues of lecturers' welfare and the condition of the nation's tertiary institutions. Their recent action follows a breakdown of agreement with the federal government. The union says they are left with no choice but to embark on a one-month warning strike. ASUU's protracted face-off with the federal government is what this episode is all about. We appreciate you for joining us. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.
In 1978, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, emerged as a successor of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, comprising lecturers of federal and state universities with the aim of improving Nigeria's educational system. Part of the fundamental objective of ASUU is to negotiate with the federal government on the need for the provision of desirable welfare for the Nigerian university lecturers and to forestall massive brain drain in the education sector. Almost 45 years after, the journey of the union has been checkered with protracted impasse with our employers, the federal government of Nigeria. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, have embarked on at least 16 industrial actions in the last 23 years. Mathematically, making it an average of one strike almost every 1.5 years since the inception of Nigeria's current democracy. A report shows that ASUU went on strike in 1999, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013, 2017, 2018, 2020, and 2022. Even the year of the pandemic, 2020, was not spared from ASUU's agitations, perhaps corroborating with a statement by British-born American Union Labour leader Samuel Gompers, who said, "To be free, the workers must have choice. To have choice, they must retain in their own hands the right to determine under what conditions they will work." ASUU and the federal government have been at loggerheads over welfare issues of members and the condition of universities across the country. At the beginning of February 2022, the federal government committed to honoring the promise they made to ASUU to prevent disruptive strikes, encourage uninterrupted academic programs, and improve funding of the educational institutions.
We must value our custodians of knowledge while demonstrating that indeed the service they render in the shape of molding our students to grow into valued and productive members of our society. Accordingly, I have tasked my Chief of Staff, the Honorable Minister of Labour and Employment and Education, to make resolving this issue a priority. To show our commitment, several payments have been made over the last 6 months, addressing several of the issues you raised.
President Muhammadu Buhari gave the assurance at the Presidential Villa Abuja while receiving members of the Nigeria Inter-Religious Council (NIREC), led by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, and the President of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Dr. Samson Olashukbo Ayokunle.
The federal government was able to save over 100 billion naira annually from the core civil service alone. In view of the resistance from ASUU, we devised university transparency accountability solutions, which is now on the table. I have also been informed that system assessment report conducted by NITDA has been shared by the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy to all shareholders, including ASUU, and they are to make the appropriate modifications and report their recommendations. In briefing members of ASUU, it is important that you share with them that government regards them and the service they provide to our nation very highly. However, they should be cognizant of the fiscal pressures that we are currently facing. Nonetheless, we remain committed to honoring our promises. For their part, I would like to encourage ASUU to continue to work with us towards finding solutions to the challenges that confront us. This administration is committed to engagement and dialogue, and I urge them to stay the course towards a joint resolution.
However, while they waited on the government, there was a build-up to the current strike action as chapter and zonal congresses of the union began to mobilize members ahead of their action if all interventions meet a deadlock. After one of their meetings, ASUU coordinator Lagos Zone, Dr. Adelaja Dukoya, told journalists that members are prepared to embark on another industrial action to press home their demands. He called on Nigerians to prevail on the federal government to implement its agreement with the union in order to forestall any actions that will ground the tertiary education system.
Our union has continued to bring up issues of concern about the governance of our universities because it forms part of our professional and moral responsibility, and we will not stop doing that. We are perplexed and disappointed that the federal government and the state governments are not responding to our consistent appeal for reason to bring about genuine transformation driven by highly motivated human capital in the education sector, particularly the university system. Embarking on strike is not in our character, nor is it in our nature. However, our union should not be pushed to the wall. Our union will not shy away from its responsibility if that entails even going on strike. But like we say, we go on strike as a last resort. We are in a position now where the government is not doing the needful, where we are being provoked to go on strike. And we want to appeal to you, members of the press. We want to appeal to fellow Nigerians. We want to appeal to all stakeholders in the educational system and this Nigerian enterprise to appeal and prevail on the Nigerian government to do the needful and don't force us to go on strike. Because if we are forced to go on strike this time, it will be the mother of all strike. Thank you very much. Solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
Apparently, the diplomatic opportunity to avert an all-out showdown failed. So on Monday, February the 14th, 2022, the union presented what some call a black rose to students on Valentine's Day as the National Executive Committee of the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU met at the University of Lagos and declared a one-month warning strike over sundry issues that have not been attended to by the federal government.
You realize in the past 2 months, since October and August in Ilorin, we have been putting the federal government on alert on our MOA and MOU that we signed in 2020. And they have continually promised to implement those MOA. But we are now in February, and virtually none of those issues have been resolved. Consequently, at our last meeting of 12th and 13th February 2022, the neck of our union resolved as follows. Considering the government has failed to fully implement the memorandum of action signed with the Academic Staff Union of University on 23rd December 2013, given that the draft report of the negotiation agreement has been submitted for finalization for more than 9 weeks, more than 9 works now, and noting that the forceful payment of ASUU member salary and emolument with integrated payroll and personnel management information system IPs, and non-adoption of the University Transparency and Academic Solution have continued to shortchange our members. NEC therefore resolved to embark on a 4-week rollover total and comprehensive strike beginning from Monday, 14th February 2020, which is today. That is the resolution of our NEC at the last meeting that ended yesterday. Conclusion. Comrades and compatriots, it was a painful decision for NEC to arrive at the rollover strike option, contrary to the view canvases of voters. Our union looked to disrupt academic activities on our campuses. We love our students and respect their parents and guidance. We are so much sensitive to the genuine concern about stable academic calendar in public university expressed by patriotic Nigerians and lovers of Nigeria. But the blame should be squarely put at the foot doorstep of those who ignore our patriotic yearning for developmental-oriented education system. The patience of our members have been tasked beyond tolerable limit.
Principal amongst them, according to ASUU, is the foot dragging by the federal government to implement the 2009 renegotiated agreement with the union. Some highlights of the union's demands includes funding for revitalization of public universities and academic allowance, improved funding of state universities and promotion arrears. Others are the replacement of the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System (IPPIS) with its own University Transparency and Accountability Solution (UTAS) in the payment of emoluments of its members. As anticipated, some union leaders immediately raised their voices to the struggle. Some say it's a crisis between the government and the people, not just ASUU, because for them, well-funded tertiary institutions is for the greater good of the nation.
We are open to options, and we have asked those who raise these questions to suggest such options. But the other option that is available is to close the universities and forget about it. In Ghana, universities in Ghana were closed for 2 years, after which, they began to take tertiary education very seriously. The option we have is to allow government to destroy the only remaining functional public university system in Nigeria. And when we talk about students bearing the brunt of strikes, our members also bear the brunt of strikes. The last strike we embarked upon, for 9 months, our salaries were withheld. Our members were not able to pay their medical bills. So we don't enjoy going on strike. We go on strike at very great pains, and people kept blaming the victim for the sins of the oppressor.
Not a dime.
The Vice President of ASUU notes that although the university system has some housekeeping duties to address, the union's agitation is not about grandstanding, but for the good of the system. He adds that the strike can end as soon as possible if government walks the talk. He also raised other issues.
220 billion was given to the universities by the Goodluck Jonathan administration
in 2013.
The entire money was about 1.3 trillion naira. It was going to be given in 5 tranches. So that first tranche had been given by the Goodluck Jonathan administration. The next government, which is this government, was supposed to take the next tranche of about 200 billion, right? It is out of that 200 billion that they have given 35. So we have about 170 left. We met on the 25th of March, 2021 last year, and told them, what about this 170 billion? When are you going to advance this money to the universities? They said, no, they don't have money. We said, okay, so how can we help you? They said we should go and bring a schedule for them to look at on how to pay. So based on the economic circumstances, we decided to suggest to them to give every quarter 42.5 billion naira, spread over about a year and a half. It is that 170 or so billion that we're still talking about, that no kobo has been given.
Is that why you've decided to embark on this one?
This is one of the reasons. The other reasons are the issue of UTAS, which you all know, IPPIS.
Days after ASUU's directive to members to proceed on a one-month warning strike, it's been a mixed bag of compliance across the country. While some of the chapters of the union have fully complied with the directive, some are either not complying or still consulting with their members on the issue. For Modibo Adama University students in Adamawa State, it's different strokes for different folks. While some are in solidarity with the union, others believe the lecturers should empathize with the graduating students.
Every day they are creating private universities in this country. I know you are aware. Every month they are approving new private universities. Can you afford private university? No. We're saying they have to fund these universities because all of you will come to this university.
University is a universal entity. But can you proudly say, in the course that you are reading, you can compare effectively with your mate from another university?
No. I would like for us to put us into consideration. We are in 500 level. We have just 2 months to finish. We have just 2 months to finish. I, as a person, I finished secondary school in 2007. I spent 9 years at home before I finally gained admission. Time is going. And as well, there's the issue of NYSC as well. I actually look forward to serving. Not because of maybe I'm patriotic or anything. It is the Alawi that is important for me. Because I have plans for that Alawi. But now if ASUU goes on strike now, automatically I can't serve again. Is it possible for people like myself, because I'm not the only one in this situation, I have classmates as well who are in this situation too. Is it possible for ASUU to also put us into consideration as well? In the sense that, like, the issue of the age for people to, like, maybe to go and serve and all that, I don't know, maybe they could, like, I don't know, maybe they can just, like, increase the age so people like I myself can also serve too.
Those people, remember, we put them into those offices for them to protect our interests, for them to be there for us. And if reverse is the case, we'll put you there and you just do something of your own interest, something that will be beneficial to you and your family. How about the poor people, the masses on the ground? How about them? How would they cope?
The students of Imo State University, on their part, are calling on the federal government to heed the call of the union. The situation for them is frustrating, especially for exit classes.
We are angry about the strike. Really angry about the strike, because we're supposed to be graduating in 2 weeks' time. Our exam is supposed to start today. I have exam by 3 p.m. That's why I'm in school currently. But the ASUU members on meeting currently saying that all exams that have not been written from 8 till 12 will not be written again because they've declared strike, and we are not happy. If this strike should commence, that means our graduation is pending. We've been in this school for how many years now? Coronavirus, strike, we're tired. If there's anything they can do for those that still have exams to write, for those that are graduating students, let us graduate. We just want to graduate. Just 2 weeks, we'll graduate and leave all these things. We are not happy.
At the Bayero University Kano, BUK, students share the sentiments of their colleagues over the protracted issues. They say timely intervention is expedient.
I think it's very sad because I'm just in. And then when you hear level 4 and other level talking about it, it seems worse. They'll be like, you're just starting. Because we're supposed to spend 4 years for a course. Some course is supposed to spend 5 years. Some you're not even supposed to spend up to 4 years. And then when the strike starts, you know that, man, you're going to spend more than that in the school. So it's very worse. Besides, when your parents say that it's strike, they know you're coming back home. And then that's another thing again, because maybe your foodstuffs and then all the preparations they are making for you, everything is going on well. And then you don't even know whether they are coming back. That's the main issue, because it might be indefinite at the end of the day. And it might last like 9 months, like it used to be, or 6 months. That's why it's very sad.
Students of the University of Benin in Edo State took their solidarity with the union a notch higher by staging peaceful protest on the very busy Lagos-Benin Expressway, disrupting economic activities. They insist that the federal government must attend to their teachers as a matter of urgency so they can return to their classes.
We need revitalization in our educational system. Most of our labs are stuck with old old facilities. We need modern facilities to measure up with the people, with other universities in the outside the country. So we need the federal government to sort whatever issue they are having with ASUU, with the university union, so that we can go back peacefully to our classroom and graduate as at when we are supposed to graduate.
ASUU appears to be the last man standing. Once ASUU falls, public education, especially university education, will crumble in this country. So we are calling on everyone, apart from the students, everyone else should come out and prevail on the government and compel them to honor a simple agreement that they entered into with the union.
Lecturers here say it's double tragedy for teachers who have their children in the system, but they are left with no choice as government hasn't demonstrated the political will to implement the 2009 renegotiated agreement with the union.
Many of us are also parents to these children. For example, I have a child in this school. Now that the strike has been declared, he will come back home to me. So it's a kind of a double tragedy that we suffer as a parents and as lecturers. But this time around, we have been compelled to embark on this strike because after the memorandum of understanding that was entered into by the federal government and our union was signed in December 2020, on the basis of which our union suspended the then ongoing strike. The government had assured us, had pledged to meet the demands that were agreed on in that memorandum of understanding. But unfortunately, they have paid lip service to that. They attended to some of the ancillary issues, but the more crucial and more basic issues about the condition of service of a university lecturers has been unattended to.
In response to the call by the National Executive of ASUU, lecturers at the University of Lagos have stopped attending to their primary responsibility of teaching students. Though cameras are not allowed into the premises of the University of Abuja, the entry is bereft of the usual flow of students, indicating that academic activities may have been halted.
Today we are here in school now, and also lectures. Now, many people who have traveled, who are here, some of them that are in the hostel, like Matt, have to start going back home. It's really frustrating the way everything is going on.
Lecturers at the Taraba State University are yet to join in on the strike. Although lectures have been going on, some students are apprehensive about the consequences should it take effect.
I believe that if this thing will continue, it will affect my education and it will affect my calendar.
On his part, the former Labour leader and Director General of Michael Imodu Institute for Labour Studies, Issa Aremu, is asking ASUU and the federal government to find a common ground to resolve their differences and avoid a total collapse of the education system.
All the parties should look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture in the case of what do you call it now? The university is the students. And in this case, students of the poor.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Education, Mr. Adamu, says he's looking for the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, following inconclusive negotiations before the 4-week industrial action embarked upon by the union on February the 14th. Expressing surprise over the commencement of ASUU strike action, the Education Minister maintains that he's ready to reach an agreement with the union and is still looking for them to resolve outstanding issues.
ASUU, unfortunately, they've gone on strike, and I'm just looking for them because all the issues have been addressed. The last thing that happened was the committee that looked at their demands, the renegotiation that is going on, and they submitted a draft agreement which the ministry is looking at. The committee is looking at it. Immediately it finishes, the government will announce what it has accepted of that. Then suddenly I had them going on strike. So I'm looking for us. Because the federal government is ready to meet them on all the issues they have raised. And if there are so many meetings and then the gap is not closing, I think it's not the fault of government.
Mr. Adamu also reacts to several allegations by ASUU, some of which is that the minister has consistently shunned negotiation meetings and that the federal government does not want a peaceful resolution to the crisis. The minister denies them all.
I always call the meeting myself. The meeting that I didn't attend was when I was in hospital in Germany. There is a solution. The negotiation that has been going on is the solution. And that is why I told you I'm so surprised that ASUU has gone on strike. I'm ready to reach agreement with ASUU now. But since I'm not the only one, I can't give you time, but certainly we are going to reach agreement, and it will be very soon.
Just like you, others may be asking as well, is there ever going to be an end in sight to this protracted battle between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities over welfare issues and the condition of universities? I guess time will tell. All we may have to do now is to watch and see how things play out in the coming days or weeks.
And that's it on this episode of the program. Thanks for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo.